Alright, it's been quite a while since I did one of these. This is an Adalogical Enigma, number 14, because last year, well, I guess it was the year before last I started doing them, but I don't really remember when I stopped. So I did the first 13, and then I decided to just play video games for a while, and then I got stuck doing that and never came back to them. But I felt like now was a good time to try another one, particularly because I've had a pretty bad headache for the last couple of days, and so having something that's not playing lots of sounds at me and flashing colours in my face is probably a good idea. So yeah, let's take a look at this Adalogical Enigma. You can go to pavelspuzzles.com if you want to try these for yourself. I copy them into Photoshop and then draw on them like this. Gives me a good way to record them. But you can just download them, print them out. It's just a pen and paper puzzle. All right. Okay. Gentle patron. The seasons turn, and once again it is upon us. The time of rains, the time of torrents, bringing swollen streams and rising rivers, and such wondrous exotic names our rivers have. Snohomish, Samamish, and Skycomish. I'm presuming they are rivers in... Where is it Washington? Yes, Seattle, Washington. They strike my ears like the names of ancient river gods, now awakening from their summer slumbers. It is in reverence of our waterways that I have created this enigma. I ask that you blacken some of the squares in the grid below to represent the banks of our rivers. So yeah, the way these all work is there's usually a grid, or there's some kind of giant puzzle down here, and then the text up here explains what's going on, and they give like a smaller example as well to show you how you might come to some answers, and then whatever you put in here tends to in some way gives you a clue towards what this answer will be, which will be a 6-letter word in this case. You'll see. I ask that you blacken some of the squares in the grid below to represent the banks of our rivers. Anywhere that a grid intersection is labelled with a number, that tells you exactly how many of the 4 adjacent squares must be blackened. Okay, so a 1 has 1 black square next to it. All of the squares that you leave undarkened, that is, the actual rivers of our landscape, must remain connected to one another horizontally and or vertically. Okay, so they must all form one connected sequence. Okay, that's all the rules are. Interesting. Uh-oh, I'm going to be so out of practice. Once you've completed filling the grid, you can move on to finding the final answer to my enigma. Please find all of the unlabeled grid intersections that are adjacent to exactly 3 blackened squares. Unlabeled grid intersections. They're adjacent to exactly 3 blackened squares. At each such intersection, clearly mark the letter in the 4th undarkened square. Okay, so because that intersection there has 3 blackened squares around it, then we take the remaining one and that becomes a letter. And they spell out a word. Reading those letters in order, top to bottom, left to right, will reveal a clue to your final answer. Okay. In this case, they've just said that's the answer, but usually it gives you a clue that becomes the answer. And usually it's a reference to something I don't understand, so I have to go and look it up. Okay. Holy moly. Where to even begin here? I'm going to be so out of practice here. Well, okay, easy place to begin is with this 4. This is one of those ones that, because I'm shading it in, it's going to be slightly annoying with the way I have things set up. I had to relearn on my Photoshop shortcuts. I guess I could do squares instead, or rectangles. Oh, that was not a rectangle. Well, it is. It's a rounded rectangle. Like, will this be annoying? Oh, no, it is working. It's just that stupid thing where it's like, doesn't draw until later. Let's just see what happens if I continue with the brush tool. Oh no, everything's going wrong. Go away. B. Am I on the wrong layer now? Yes. Okay. Let's just do this. Then scribble. Maybe don't scribble over the number. Oh gosh. Let's use the paintbrush. What's the shortcut for paintbrush? Not paintbrush. Paint bucket. Tell me the shortcut. What's the shortcut? Tell me. Why do you flicker on the screen for a second? Why do you do that? Do I have to come out of this mode? Yes. Classic. G. Oh no, I think I just filled the rest of the thing. There we go, that works. But then I've covered the number. That might be an issue. That will be an issue. Oh, okay. Let's do this. Slightly tedious. Maybe less so when it's not all fours though. Okay. Okay, we've got another 4 here. Let's just scribble. That'll do. Lovely. I'm scribbling with a mouse, to be clear. Mice are not the best with scribbling. With scribbling? For scribbling. Is that all the 4s? But then there are some like 2s along the edge. I see this one at least. So that's... that one's already got one. Okay, so then this tells us... this is nasty. That's that one. This is a little bit minesweepery. Because that's already got one there. So this one must be here. Right? And then that one's already got one. But that doesn't tell me... I know that's not one, but it doesn't tell me anything about this. Okay, that's fine. That's totally fine. 0 here, which doesn't really tell me much, except obviously I know they're empty. 1, 1, but it could be that and that, or it could be a shared one. 1, 1, 1. Where next? At some point I'm going to have to use the fact that all the rivers are continuous. So that's going to be important at some point. What could I figure out? Is there anything in the rules about... I always have this question. I always think it's not actually specific about it. Because like in the example, there are no clumps of like 2 by 2, but I don't think it says anywhere that they must be like that. Therefore, I cannot assume it. It may end up being true. I can't use it as a rule. So, what about here? So there's 2 3s next to each other. So in some way, at least one of these 2 middle ones is going to be shared between them. That 1 is either going to be here or here, so those 2 are empty. Right, if this has got 3 around it, then either that's empty or that's empty. Well, okay, so that tells me it's these 2. These 2 are full, right? Okay, I need to triple check my thoughts because it's been so long. So there's 3 here. There's going to be 1 empty, and therefore these 2 can't be filled. Therefore these 2 will be. Okay. I want to avoid going over the numbers too much. I guess it's still pretty much readable. I can always make my layer transparent if I need to. So that gives me that. So one of these 2 is empty. Which one I do not know. That means these two are empty. Okay. So, what's next? That was something at least. Don't know if you can hear the dog next door. Where on earth do I go next? So what caused that? What made that work out? So 3 and a 1 adjacent to each other. So why don't I stick with 3s and 1s adjacent to each other if there are any more? Diagonally, yes, but not in any other, not in the orientation that I'm expecting them to be in. But presumably I can do a similar thing with 3 and 2, right? Sort of, not really. So okay, so in this situation where there's 3 and 2 2s on each side, the issue is, yeah, one of these is going to be empty, but I don't know which 2 it's going to be empty next to. It doesn't mean one of these 2s will have blanks. Like either these 2 are going to be empty or these 2 are going to be empty, but I can't really tell which case. What about this cluster here? It's quite interesting. In particular, these 2 3s next to each other. Right? So, I mean, it's similar to the previous thing. So 3 and a 2 next to each other. That means, what does it mean? So one of these is blank. Can I tell right now which one it should be? Or can I at least narrow it down? So if one of these 2 was blank, then these 2 are filled in, and that, so it's like that, or like that, which is totally fine. There's too many options there to keep exploring. This is usually what they're like, though. Usually the very beginning is like the most difficult bit, and then it all starts to come together at some point. So, if this 3 had 3 there, then these 2s would both be done. Is there something? Okay. I'm jumping around all over the place. Is there something I can do with this? Because I know that that has to be free, but I knew that anyway. I was thinking because of I know the rivers have to be connected. So I couldn't block that off, because then that Y would be left by itself. 3 and 3, they could share. Oh, nothing constrain, none of the numbers constrain the adjacent numbers particularly well. It's just these edges that have been useful so far. But I've kind of run out of useful edges because I've only got 1s left. 1, 1, either that would work, that'd be fine. Would that be fine with adjacent things as well though? 1, 1. That would have to be 3. So if that was a 1, that would be empty. That would be a 1. Therefore, these would have to be filled in like this to allow that to come out, that river to come out there, and then the 3 would have to be done like that. But, if that were the case, one of these has to be a 1, then that would block off this section. Oh no, okay, hold on. Let's go through that again, step through it. Maybe that's the thing. So, I'm saying, because this one needs a 1 next to it, so if that's a 1, then that is empty. Therefore, this needs 1 next to it still, so it's going to be there, right? That means that needs to be empty, which means this 3 is going to be filled in like this. And we know these are empty. We know one of these needs to be a 1, so that would block it off. So that's, okay, so I know that's not the 1. This is the 1. Okay. Interesting. Okay. So we know that's empty, we know that's empty, we know that's empty. Probably this goes like this, but I can't say for certain. Like, I'm saying that basically because I think they're all going to be singular, like, 1 width rivers. But in theory, it could be like that, right? But then we have this similar issue, right? If one of these is a 1, in fact, hold on. Like, no matter how these 3 get filled in around here, like, this is not a route through. Okay, so then this has to come around that way. Therefore, that has to be empty, and that's the 1. I got it. I'll do. So I think it's this. Let's put some lines in. Can't use it. Let's go to there so I can still see the number. Lovely scribbling. Okay. I'm making some progress here. So, what now? I think I can figure something out here as well. So this 2 still needs 2 next to it. It can't be that one. It could be that one, but then it would have to be... So it can't be that one, so this needs to have some escape. In which case, the other blank one next to the 2 needs to be either there or there. Correct? So what I'm saying is for the 2, either these 2 need to be filled in or these 2 need to be filled in. I think there's an issue with those 2 being filled in though, which is that the 3 would then close that off. Yes, so it's these 2. Okay. So then this 3 needs another one, but I can't tell where that would go. I don't think. That one can't be filled, so this one is. So that one isn't. But I don't know which one it is. Could be a whole bunch of them. Okay, that's some pretty good progress. The other issue with these is I might have gone completely wrong already at some point. And I won't know until later. Oh. Usually it doesn't take as long to redo bits though. And so there have been occasions where I have gone wrong at points, but I've been able to undo to the bit where I went wrong. But usually you can tell which bit it was that went badly, where the bad logic occurred. What do I think is next? Can I figure out any more of this? If the third one for this was here, what would that tell me? That would be fine. If it was here, what would that tell me? That would also be fine. I don't know if I can figure anything else out from that. Oh, I almost got scared. So I was thinking about this bit along the top, where there's no numbers at all. I was thinking, well, does that mean it's open? Well, not necessarily, right? Maybe at some point I figure out that this... How would I figure out that that had to be closed off? How would that ever be forced? I don't know if it could be, which maybe implies that it isn't. But I'm not sure. Like, maybe this gets forced as an actual river because, like, maybe there's some subsection of river down here that has to be connected to the rest of it through that route. But I don't know how it could ever force it to be the other way round. I'm not going to use that as part of my logic, though. It feels too uncomfortable. Okay, so what can we do next? So I feel like this is going to start happening soon. This 3, there's a few ways it could go. Well, there's 4 ways it could go. And all of them seem okay right now. This obviously still needs to stay connected. But there's a whole bunch of ways it could go that would keep it connected. So I'm not sure I'm getting anything there. I know this one is not here. Guess that's useful. Therefore, it could be there, it could be there, it could be there. There's too many options still. What about... Oh yeah, sorry. And the reason I got scared when I was thinking about that is that I thought maybe I'd made the mistake down here, assuming that these would be empty, but they are empty because there's a 0, so it's fine. Okay. Okay, what can I figure out next? Maybe there's another area. So that's another thing that often happens in these. There'll be like 3 different seed points throughout the puzzle, and like you'll keep growing each of them a tiny bit and bit, and then eventually they'll combine in the middle, and suddenly it all explodes into a solution. So it may be that this might be as far as I can get with this little area of the puzzle, and then there's another area that will come along, and then eventually they'll meet and start influencing each other. There's got to be something I can figure out about this, right? Right, so one thing is that, if this were filled in and this were filled in, then we're forcing a diagonal for the rest of this. No, we're not, because that could be like that. Yeah. Maybe there is something more I can figure out down here. Well, okay, so something interesting about this is that if this were filled in, then this 3 would have to be those 3. Should we follow that through? Okay, let's remember that's I'm going to put X there instead. So X, that's where I started doing my, whatever you want to call it. This is not certain. So then that would have to be those 3 then. So that means they're empty. That works pretty well. Does it work pretty well? No, because then that would have to be empty. So then this 3 needs those 2 filled in, and that would close all that off. So that is not what happens. Let's run through that again. If this is the third one here, then this has to be empty to allow that to connect out, for the K to connect to the N, so then those 3 are filled in. Therefore, this river needs to come up this way, but it can't because that would need to be covered like that. Okay. Therefore, it's not that one, it's this one. And then, from that, I can tell what. So that one's empty. One. So there's a few ways this could go, right? It could go like that still. Wait, but then we have the same problem, right? Okay, hold on. So that's really important. I should focus on that. If we're going up this way, or if this gets closed off, if like these 2 are filled in, then we have this problem up here. So these 2 are not filled in. Correct. One of them is. One of them's empty, one of them's filled in. I don't know if I can tell which ones though. In fact, if I do that as well, if that one's empty, then we have the same problem. Yes. So that one's empty, right? Because all of these situations cause that. So, wait, which ones? That one's empty. Okay, cool. This one's going to look like a mess at the end of it. All this scribbling. So then this is like this. This is all coming together now. Check it out. This is all going to start influencing that splodge of 2s in the middle as well. I can sort of still read stuff. So this is going up like this. There's a 2 there. That has to be empty, so this is filled. That's got to be empty. This has all got to keep connecting up this way. So this is filled. These 2 are not, so these 2 are. Check it out. Oops, don't do that. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Okay, so now there's a river coming down the middle here as well. Can I figure out anything else about what's going on around here? Well, I know those are empty. But these 2s could be in a few different places. That 2 could be there or there. But I know one of these is empty, so I know those 2 are filled, right? One of these 2 has to be empty, otherwise the 2 would have more than 2. Therefore, this 3 has 2 up here. Nice. Oh. There we go. And also that 3 can't be like this, because it would just leave a little island? Not an island, opposite of an island. Pond. Is a pond the opposite of an island? Sure. So that one's filled in. Fill in the pond. But I don't know which of the others. That could be empty, sure. That could be empty. That could be empty. Yeah, they're all fine. But I am making some serious progress now. This is good.